If you are going to be single this year on Valentine's Day, then I want you to pay attention to this video. If you are looking for somebody to be in a real relationship with, it is a journey and it is a marathon. It is not a sprint. It is not to put it on social media and glorify everything about your relationship. It's not to just have somebody to be with when you're alone. It's not just because you're horny. It's because you're looking for somebody that you actually want to share your life with. So if you don't have somebody on Valentine's Day, understand that it is an arbitrary holiday that is put on your calendar that's going to make you feel worse about being single, when in reality it is no different than any other day on the calendar. What are you going to miss out on? You're going to miss out on a crowded restaurant. You're going to miss out on expensive flowers, expensive gifts. Understand that the real gift of being with the right person is having them, and it's not about putting it on social.
So leading up to Valentine's Day 2025, okay, I want you to consider showing up for yourself. Showing up for yourself, showing up for yourself. I can say it enough. Put you on the calendar, because as we evolve, as the world evolve with us, especially women, sometimes, a lot of times, our men sometimes tend to still be back in the days, right? Where, you're in a committed relationship, you're in a marriage, you're dating. The mindset is still kind of like our grandparents' mindset. Some grandparents may be different, but majority of the time, where you're like, okay, he's gonna bring you flowers, he's gonna bring you chocolate, he's gonna take you off to that date night, he's gonna plan that trip, make it special, right? They still exist, those stories. Don't tell me there's I choose to believe, I choose to be delulu, right? But at the end of the day, even outside of that, right, the movie like mindset, life be real. But at the same time, there's still that vibe about Valentine's Day. Show up for yourself one way or the other. Some of the ways could be you as a woman not sitting there waiting, expecting. Send the cue. Tell what your preference is. Tell that guy, tell that man, give him the cue. Hey, I would like some flowers, like ahead of the day. I would like some flowers. I would like for you to plan some date night for us. You know how I'm saying it? Like, these are things even myself I'm learning now as I'm gotten into dating after over 14 years of marriage. Like, putting like that, dropping the cue, but also stating exactly what you would like it to look like. And in absence of that, and in the knowledge of people can be people can sweet, people can fail you, you will have to be accountable for yourself. So how do you be accountable for yourself? Some of this could be pouring into yourself. Like, for example, finding a cute little outfit, maybe leading that day reminds you of how you love on yourself, right? Like me, my Christmas tree is still up. I put some love on it. Every time I walk by, it reminds me of love. I put a love, what is it called? I'm putting blank on my door. The thingy, the wreath, kind of wreath. Is it? Yeah, I think so. I put it on my door just to remind me of love through the. Sometimes I leave it for majority of the year, because it shouldn't be just about one day. It's about showing love through text, voice, calling, checking on people all through the year, setting those boundaries for yourself as well. On the airplane, it says put your mask on first. So in that sense, as we go to Friday, put you on the calendar, show up for yourself, put your mask on leading up to that, so you don't have a whole big old meltdown Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's like, oh, I got disappointed, he didn't even do this, he didn't do that. Okay, start now. The sweater, cute little shirt, look for night cute pajamas, like that Friday night, Saturday night. Do a nice bath time routine. Like, romanticize yourself, your morning routine, your nighttime routine. In the outside of anything, anybody brings, your partner brings, your children bring, whoever bring, your loved one bring, your friend bring, is the tip of the iceberg. It's a top additional, because you're already filling your cup. You're not thirsty, you're not desperate. Some of the stories in the video that I'm posting, like, when you get desperate, like, not too good things can happen. Also, on the itinerary could be getting those cute little candies from the pharmacies, from Walmart, from Target, from the dollar store. Like, just treat yourself. Get a little, maybe wine or something that Friday night. Take yourself out to dinner. If nobody's taking you out, plan it. book that, make that reservation. You got to make it ahead though, maybe tomorrow before Friday, because it's going to be booked. But if you don't want to be like looking like you're looking at all those googly eyed people doing all this stuff, and it's a trigger, especially someone like me who has gone through a separation, divorce, breakup, or you're in a situationship, should I stay, should I go, it's kind of messy, like really can't figure it out. You know, you're healing, and those boundaries could be putting those boundaries within yourself. If you can tolerate, you have the bandwidth to tolerate being out there and seeing those couples doing their cool. It doesn't faze me anymore as much as it used to, because sometimes, believe it or not, most of us were married, but you're like so single, you're so lonely in a marriage, and you know, a lot of you know that. But pouring into yourself, you're finding joy and gratitude in the day. If you have kids, plan something, get a little gift for the kids, even make that Valentine's Day special for you, special for the kids too. So you're showing them how love is supposed to be reciprocated, and how they can center themselves and pour love into themselves. So that part, get yourself flowers. You know, you don't have to go get those expensive pre-arranged flowers. You can just go to one of your local grocery store, grab a few and put together in a vase, put water, put something on it. It will last a few days. It will be a reminder to you of how much you're loving on yourself. Get chocolate covered strawberries. Get the strawberries yourself. Get some chocolate, melt it, put it on there. Make it special, make it cool. And then you start feeling cool within yourself. You start feeling centered. You start feeling peaceful. And then you attract somebody who is centered, who is peaceful, who likes the same thing.
Want to know why I have standards? Because when I was younger, I didn't. I was dating a guy at the time, and while he managed to ruin every single holiday, this one takes the cake. Valentine's Day. We'd been dating 5.5 months at that point. He made no attempt to bring up Valentine's Day plans, and he didn't even text me Happy Valentine's Day. While I was a little bit bummed, I tried to convince myself that it wasn't a big deal. He realized I was a little bit bummed, so he asked me what I wanted to do, and I said just the same stuff, let's go to the gym and get dinner. So he brought me a donut that somebody had brought into his work office, and then we went to the gym, got dinner, and then he finally posted me on his Instagram after months of not, and that detail is important. It's gonna come back around. Later that night, we're on the couch. He was being a little weird, but whatever. I was showing him something on my phone. I had a message request come through. I swiped it away, thought nothing of it, and then he instantly just got into this serious conversation with me. He said that fucking up Valentine's Day made him realize how much he cares about me, how important the relationship is, blah, blah. Then he finally tells me he loves me for the first time. Morning comes, and I finally look at that message request. Yep, it's the hey girl text. Sorry girl, didn't know you had a girlfriend. I told him I was gonna say something to you, and he begged me to not. She had also sent photos that he had sent her, and my little fucked up brain knew they were old photos, so I just assumed it was before me. I told him she reached out, sent photos, and he was like, yeah, that was before you. Then she deleted his name out of the contacts so that I could see the phone number and sent timestamps with the motherfucking date. So I showed him this, and he doubled down and straight up lied to my face and said, no, that's wrong. This was before you. Now you can tell I'm starting to question a little bit, so when I went to work, he FaceTimed me so that I couldn't call any of my friends, and then he showed up at my work bawling and threatened suicide. I was in social work at the time, so he manipulated me once again with my career and said because I'm a social worker and I know how to help people, I'm the best person for him because he's struggling and he really needs me right now. And guess who stayed? I knew I was too weak to leave. I stayed in a relationship where I lost myself, I was manipulated, gaslit, and I was abused, and I stayed. I have such high standards now because I know firsthand the pain, the effects, and the trauma that comes when you don't. And while I was manipulated, I allowed it. I lost myself, I was living in daily anxiety, and I was being treated like absolute shit. I have standards now because I knew the only way to ensure that that never happened again was to not allow it. I am in control, and I love the shit out of myself now because there was a time where I clearly didn't.
January 2012, my ex literally gave me pure red flags. But I was so young, I was so naive, I completely ignored them until it literally became evident that I cannot ignore them anymore. So just for context, he had told me that he went to a funeral, which I knew he went to the funeral anyway. So he went to a funeral, and he went to a funeral in an area that he's not supposed to go into because there was a lot of like gang affiliation in these particular areas. So he kind of avoids this area. But he attended the funeral, he left early because it was a Friday and he actually had to go to Jummah prayer. So he left early, like from the service and stuff, so he can go Jummah. So, but either way, like all the man them told him that this is what happened afterwards. There was a shooting and blah, blah, blah. And so he knew that at this point, when there was all this like tit for tat, back and forth between two particular groups, everyone in like the whole area knew what it was on because of the drama that happened at the funeral. So imagine on February the 14th, 2012, it was a Tuesday, and because my ex used to have like a clothing business, we basically was packing like his orders and stuff like that, and we left our phones in the office and we decided to go and get like drunk because we wasn't going to go nowhere on Valentine's. So the shop is literally like up the road. You can see the shop door from his yard, but to get to the shop you have to walk to the end of the road, and then as soon as you cross, like, you're literally there at the shop. So imagine we're walking, we're talking. I got to the end of the road. I was waiting for this car to drive past me, so it's gone past me, and then I've literally continued to walk. I remember there was this black lady as well, and she was on the other side of the road already, and she was literally walking towards the shop as well. And like, even from her face made me turn around, and when I turned around I can see that my ex was running up the road, like gone, dust out, didn't say nothing, he just cut. And the two boys in the car, that the boys that literally I just literally waited for them to drive past me before I crossed the road, they stopped, hopped out, pulled the knife from their, one of the driver pulled a knife from his sock, and they both ran after my ex up the road. So my first instinct was to just go into the shop, because obviously I don't know what's going on. I was caught off guard, and plus he obviously didn't kind of make it bait that we was together, because he just didn't even talk. He just literally ran off. And because I continued to walk across the road, because I didn't realize that he ran off, it looked as if in a way that I was meeting up with the woman who was already across the road walking to the shop. But anyway, so I've gone in the store, and the shopkeeper, from the woman's reaction, knew something had kicked off. And because in the week I was coming in, obviously, with my ex, they knew it was him, and he's been living on that road for many years. So they knew the situation that was happening was like to do with him. So she's like, he's getting chased, we need to call the police. There's these two boys, they got knives. And I'm literally like, I don't even know how to feel, because Tuesday I've left my phone in the house, and he left his phone in the house, and he's got the keys to the house. So while I'm in the store, I was probably in the store for about 2 minutes, and then one of the guys from the car came back to the door, and he peered and watched me in my face. So he's looking at me at the door, the guy's looking at me right in my face, and I literally just tried to make it look really natural, like I was kind of like not trying to make eye contact and just keeping it really like normal. Anyway, the second guy who was in the car, he ran back to the car, so then that encouraged the guy who was looking at me through the glass door. And then they both just literally just like got in their car and just like drove off like full speed. So the black woman was like to me, oh, listen, just stay in the shop. And I don't know why, but I just left the shop. I left the shop and I started to like, you know, like that sort of like run walk that you do. I started to like trot back up to the house, because I'm thinking like, where is he? These men are gone, so I don't know where he is. So I've got to the house, I've knocked on the door, there's no one there. I've gone back to the path where the car's parked, and I can see him like further up the road running back towards the house. So when he approaches me, he's just like, get in. So he opens the door, we get in the house. And then my ex goes upstairs to change his clothes, and he's just like, you know what, you need to stay here. And he's starting to like just talk about how, them man want to try it. And he just absolutely gone delusional, like gone mental. Like he knew who these men were. And I'm sitting there confused thinking like, what the hell is going on? Because how is it that you know who these people are? Like, why are they chasing up the road? I'm asking all these questions. He's not answering my questions. He's just talking. It's kind of like he was talking to himself, but like I was just like there. So anyway, he says to me, listen, don't open the door, don't open the window, don't look outside the window, just stay in the room. So imagine he's literally left the yard at about 11:15. He's left the house, and he didn't return until gone 2 o'clock. In that time, I've been like chatting to people on BB. I've been watching EastEnders, like going out of my mind. Any single noise I heard outside the door, I'm thinking someone's gonna lick off the door. Like I was just literally going mad. But I didn't even ring my mum. Didn't ring no one. I was literally just like, I don't know why, I was just keeping it quiet kind of thing. Like I was just like, I was thinking they're probably gonna panic because I'm so far away from my parents' house. And anyway, I just thought, okay, whatever. Like anyway, when I heard his car pull up, like I could breathe. I was just like, okay, cool, like everything's fine because he's back. Now, the way my ex always parks his car, he always parks with the driver's side to the pavement, the passenger's side to the road. And this is so significant. You need to remember that is how he parks his car. Like, even if we was coming from like a regular side, like a regular entrance to the road, he would turn her car around and park so that he can just hop out onto the pavement and not on the passenger side. And I always used to be like, bro, you're so extra, you're doing a whole turn in the road just so you can park the opposite way. Like, that's super significant. You need to remember that, because when he came home that Tuesday night, well, Wednesday morning now, when he's come home, he's parked with the driver's side to the road and the passenger side to the pavement. Remember that. So Wednesday morning when we woke up, we was just like, do you know what, should we just stay in? Like, you know, when you just don't have no plans. And I think from the day before I was quite shaken up a bit, because I was still trying to piece things together, and certain things that he told me that night when he come in, I don't even know if I'm allowed to repeat it. I don't even know if I'm allowed to repeat these things. But anyway, he just was talking the most. He was hotting up certain crimes, he was hotting up just things. It was just a bit mad. There was a lot to take in. So in my brain, I kind of felt like, I think I should just go to my mum's. You know, when you just think like, I think I need to just leave this area. Anyway, midday now, he got a phone call from his boy, and he said, listen, don't leave your yard. So he's like, why not, like, what's going on? So he said, listen, them man are basically trying to find you. He goes that further up, so basically past the shop on the same road that we was on, past the shop, there's a black family up there, and they got their house ran up in, like, literally at gunpoint. And I believe it's mistaken identity. I think these boys will obviously circulate in the area now because they're trying to find him. And where they knew that there was a black family, they just literally speculated and thought that must be his family. So they decided to run up in that yard. So you see, when I was by myself listening to all these noises last night, that's what was happening. So anyway, my gut basically said, you need to get the hell out of there. So what I did was I booked my train ticket for the following morning, Thursday morning, yeah? We didn't go out anywhere on Wednesday. We stayed ourselves in the yard, didn't leave the yard, didn't even put the bin out. So I've packed all my stuff ready for Thursday. So on Thursday, the 16th of February, my train from Wolverhampton back to London was 12:30 p.m, right? So afternoon. It was about 12 o'clock and we was getting ready to leave the yard to drop me to the train station. So I've dragged my suitcase down the stairs, and in my brain I was like, why am I dragging my suitcase? I left my suitcase at the front door and I got myself into the car. So I've gone in the car, you know, as you do, you get in the car, you put your seatbelt on, you pull the mirror down, you get your lip gloss out, and then literally at the corner of my eye, at my peripheral vision, right, I can just see this black car, a black Seat, blacked out windows, everything was black. And the car is just there. Now, imagine this is all happening so quick. I've got in the car, as I'm getting in the car, and I've left my suitcase at the front door for my husband to put it in the boot. By the time I got in the car, my husband's dragging my suitcase, like, to the boot. He's literally, think about how fast these things happen. You need to just think about how fast these things happen, yeah? By the time I'm probably just pulling this particular thing here down, yeah, to, like, look in the mirror, my ex is at the boot, lifting the boot, like, to put my luggage in. And at the same time, there is this car that is literally, like, right here it's right there. I'm pretty sure the guys in the black Seat was literally using clutch control. That's how slow they were driving, like, to pass the car. And remember, the passenger side was to the pavement and the driver's side was to the road, when usually it's the other way around. But this time, because he parked the opposite way and he didn't move the car because we never went out on Wednesday, I happened to be at the pavement. So there's me, there's a driver's seat, and then there's the man them, like these guys that are in the black Seat. Guys, it happened so quick, I swear to you now. I literally, like, by the time I really started to put mad concentration onto this car, because it was just there, next minute the front window was like went down, the window went down. The guy in the front, I will forever remember this guy's face. He looks me right in my eye, he looks me right in my face. Someone was in the back seat, their hand came through the front, and it was two guns, the driver and the person that was in the back, and they just started to fire up the car. So in that, as soon as, like, I saw the first gun come out, I literally went, I can't even explain to you, but, like, I tried to sink into my chair. I literally, the first instinct that happened, like, it was just a natural reaction, was for me to try and, like, sink in. It was almost like I was like, I don't even know how to explain it. And then my seatbelt locked from, like, the force of me, like, literally about to just try and get low in my chair. My seatbelt locked. So then I was literally, like, I can't even explain, but I was like trying to sink down. Like, I can't even give you just listen, it was mad. So the car's getting shot up, I'm in the car. My ex literally dived down the side, so I can see, like, down the side of my window. He's literally dived down the side. The boot's still open. They're just firing up the car, and then they've just taken off. And I thought my ex got shot. I thought my ex got licked down. I thought he was done. I thought he was finished, and he just got up. So basically he didn't get hit. Obviously he never got hit, because he noticed them from the first time they started shooting, because they started shooting from like the middle of the car, and then if you had seen the gunshots, they started to go further up, like they were aiming for his head. So anyway, he dived down the side. By the time that they left, he got up, he closed the boot, he ran back round, he got in the car, he literally sped off. We were speeding off. He was screaming, he was shouting, he was telling me to ring someone, he was giving me all these different names that I need to ring, he was telling me to unlock his phone, do this, do that, and I was shaking. My hands were like going absolutely nuts, and I couldn't do nothing, and he was shouting at me because I couldn't do anything. Like, I literally couldn't do anything. My mind was discombobulated, my hands, I was shaking, I was completely like, I don't even know, like I couldn't even deep what was going on. And then he's going some next directions, he's still shouting at me, ring my boy, blah blah blah, and I could only, out of all the 10 people he told me to ring, I could only ring one person. And then, so my ex-husband was not going the correct way to the train station. Like, I'm in next ends I don't even know about, right? But in Wolverhampton, I knew my way from his house to the train station, and he was not going the right way. So I'm like, why are you not going to the train station? We need to go. I kept checking the time. I'm like, my train's coming, I need to get out. So my ex-husband, he was like to me, Amina, they're mad. Like, they're actually mad. Like, they will fully let off shots outside the train station. I'm thinking, how are they going to know we're going to train station? And he was like, because I was putting your luggage in the boot, they're going to just speculate. They're just going to know that we're going there. So at this point, I'm literally going out of my mind. I'm still shaking. I don't know what the hell to do. I'm thinking, I just need to get back to London. And then he was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to park around the corner from the station, okay? And I'm going to direct you. You just need to cross the road. You need to go up this alley, up the stairs, and you'll be at the train station. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like, I'm literally like, my heart is doing the most. I'm shook. And I'm like to him, just please just drop me to the train station. Like, I just need to get back to London. I need to get out of Wolverhampton. And anyway, what I realised when we was on our way to like where he was going to drop me is that we were so fortunate that we didn't go the conventional route, because as soon as we got to the set of lights that led like around the corner to the station, if you had seen the lights literally like opposite, you can see this black Seat. The black Seat was going to the train station, guys. It was going to the train station. So anyway, he dropped me around the corner. I come out the car, and that I feel like that's when it even hit me even more, because I saw the gunshots on the car, and my heart was like, oh my gosh. And I went into paranoia. I became so anxious. I feel like I never experienced anxiety until that moment. So I literally walked. I followed the directions. I walked across the road. I walked up the alley. I walked up the stairs, and then I got to the train station. I didn't look at no one. I didn't talk to no one. I just walked. Got to the station, put my little thing, my code thing in for the ticket to come out. I went on the platform, and I got on the train. So I got on the train, I sat on the train, I rang him, I said, boom, I'm on the train. I said to him, shall I ring my dad now? So he said, yeah. He said, ring your dad, explain what's happened. So I called my dad, I told him exactly what was going on. And my dad said, do not tell your mum until you get back home. So anyway, after Wolverhampton, I think it's Birmingham New Street station. So when we got to Birmingham, it was like one stop, yeah? So we got to Birmingham New Street. I got to Birmingham New Street station. And the way I dashed my luggage in the little luggage holder bit, and there was people coming on the train, so I got up and I moved my luggage so that someone else can put their luggage like in the same area. And that is when I saw that a gun, one of the bullets had gone straight through my suitcase, and it went in one end and come out the other end. And I promise you, my heart sunk. I started shaking again, and I felt like I'm literally bringing the situation with me home. Like, I was bringing the situation home, because there was a bullet that went straight through. I cannot remember what happened from that minute when I saw the bullet hole up until I got home. It's all a blur until I got home, and I literally told my mum everything that happened. So people are asking like my mum's reaction when I came home and obviously told her everything that happened. So basically, my mum had a panic attack. She was really like obviously shook on everything that happened. She was annoyed as well, because I hadn't told her about the chain of events that happened that time. And then, of course, this was like the beginning of so many things being exposed about like my ex-husband and things like that. Another situation that happened after that was he actually thought I was a snitch. And the reason why he thought I was a snitch is because, remember I told you guys he had a clothing business? We actually had a Facebook page, like for his, like people can order and stuff through his Facebook page. and my BlackBerry pin was on there, and his was. Obviously people could got like 2 channels of placing orders. Little did we know, the ops, obviously they were trying to get hold of him because he went into hiding after the whole situation, and they would try and contact him, try to set him up, try to get girls to place orders. He started clocking on that he's obviously in the process of like they're trying to set him up, so he stopped responding, stopped replying to their messages, stopped taking their phone calls. And then obviously they become really annoyed because they're trying to get hold of him, and at first he was communicating and then he completely stopped. So they must have sent him a message one day after he kept continuously airing them, and they were like, if we can't get to you, we'll get to your girl. So then he replied and he was like, you don't even know who she is. And they sent him pictures of me, the opposition, all these weirdos, all these psychopathic people that were trying to get him had photos of me. And obviously then I realised they've obviously got these pictures off my BlackBerry like profile picture, because they were adding me in numbers, and I was none the wiser. Like I didn't even think about my BlackBerry pin being on the Facebook page, and obviously people trying to get him and all that, and trying to like work out where he is and who he can get to. So because they sent him a picture of me, he automatically assumed that I was basically communicating with the ops. And then that was more problems, like obviously that arose in our marriage. And then there was all this other stuff that had been revealed about that. It was just long. But yeah, this is why I couldn't necessarily do a part 6, because things lead to things. For example, them knowing what my face looked like, and the guy who ran back to the shop after they chased him up the road with the knife. Remember, he was watching my face through the glass door window. That's another reason why this time when they came on our road that morning and they waited for us to leave, or so that they could know what the house is, like they didn't know what house we lived at. Because remember, we had the black family up the road who got their house run up in. They didn't even know where or what point of this road he lived on. So when I've come out the house first to get into the car, they automatically knew, boom, this is the yard. So yeah, there's so much to it. So guys, I will write the book, inshallah, this year. I'm going to write the book and you'll know everything in my detail.
Do you know that there is research behind increase in anxiety, increase in depression a few days leading up to Valentine's Day, especially with couples who are dating or in committed relationships too? Now, where are you in your relationship? Are you dating? Are you in a relationship? Are you in a marriage? And how does Valentine's look like for you? Are you Valentining yourself? Or are you anxiously or are you anticipating some type of something, a date night, gift, flowers, whatever, chocolate from your partner? Especially if you're in a heterosexual relationship and you are the female. As a lot of times that's how it goes. Females are waiting, looking for something from their male partners. But Gina Chumesi here, your favorite psych nurse practitioner, coming at you again with another video highlighting toxic abuse, narcissistic abuse, high conflict relationships, red flags, dating, all the stuff, and anything in between, mental health issues that can arise from being in relationships. But Valentine's Day is around the corner on Friday, and it can spark a lot of different emotions in people in committed relationships. My perspective on having been married over a decade and what it was like and what it wasn't like, and now being single and dating and not dating in different phases of that as well. But this clips here shows really wild stories on how Valentine's Day can really get crazy, brutal. Actually, lately, in these recent times, Valentine's Day has become overly commercialized, just like holidays, Christmas, and stuff like that. But to minimize this kind of crazy stories, I encourage a lot of my clients to really look within you. how do you pour within yourself? So when your expectations are not let down, because you just want to have this overly wild experience on that one particular day, where Valentine's Day can truly be a fulfilling experience all through the calendar year, truthfully, if you want to look at it that way. It should be that one day that's just overly hyped. And there's a lot of comparison factor that can be also a thing, social media, that kind of thing. And you're looking at yourself like, I'm not getting anything, I'm not going to get anything, I'm not going to be going out. And you're also looking at a moment in time to maybe post to show that you are in a good relationship. But what does good relationship better than the relationship that you have with yourself, whether you're single, dating, married, or not? But the relationship with yourself is most important. So what do you like? Have you asked yourself, what do you like? What would you like? Without projecting that on your partner. So that if your partner brings you whatever, you're not overly disappointed or discouraged or have the wildest stories. I have a lot of stories that I can tell. But before I jump onto that, you can look at, okay, I like flowers. So get yourself flowers. So if your partner brings you flowers, that's an addition. If they don't bring you flowers, guess what? You have filled your cup. You have filled your cup. You like chocolate. Go to Target, go to CVS, go to Walmart, get yourself chocolate. And when they bring theirs, ta-da! Is it jewelry you like? Then plan on it next year or this year, whatever. Save towards it. Find that for yourself. Nourish, just take yourself on that date night. Go on a solo date. And when you change the narrative in your head without comparing yourself to other people, how they're doing it, what they're doing, because nobody's is laid out the same as everybody. Relationship, but the most important relationship we can have with ourselves is ourselves. Or with the most important relationship we can have, the relationship with ourselves. Minimizing those expectations, those pressures. Now, it sucks when on that special time you notice or realize that your partner is doing it for other people, other girls or whatever, and not you. This stitches over here depicts that. You know, in my particular instance, I've had stories where dating, you have realized that your partner was out with other people. And here you are treating yourself, or I am treating myself, getting into a whole teasy or finding out, oh, they chose to work all the way through and not even send you no message on that day, oh, happy Val's Day, or make it a little note and text or nothing. It just went cricket. And maybe you send them a message and there was barely any reply till later in the day, and then there's this mishmash of emotions. But get a hold of yourself, because I've been there where you have so much disappointment because you're having so much expectation around that time, or you know, some of those ladies are talking about trips, they're talking about getting on special dates or go to some beautiful restaurant somewhere and all this wild stories. Why don't we look at it this way? Also, take yourself to those special places that you want your partner to feverishly take you to, so you can post it on social media to show, oh, I have the greatest relationship, I have the greatest mirror.
I'm gonna tell you. So a couple years ago, 5 years ago, yikes, I was dating somebody, and we'd been dating for like 6 months, and I told him, hey, Valentine's Day is coming up. This is my first Valentine's Day with a man, and that's pretty special. I would like to do something special for Valentine's Day, even if it's just like going to dinner, whatever. He's like, yeah, I got you. By the end of January, he still hadn't said anything to me about Valentine's Day. So I asked my friends to go on a covert mission and ask him what he had planned, obviously. So when we were all out at the bar, I went to the bathroom and they asked him, like, what are the plans for you and Brie for Valentine's Day? And he's like, don't worry about it. I got it covered. I got a reservation. Like, you got nothing to worry about. So they report this information back to me, and I'm like, beautiful. I love surprises, and it's hard to surprise me. So I was like, this is great. So I got a new outfit. I got him presents. I got him wine. I drew him a picture of us, and I wrote him a handwritten letter. And when he came to pick me up, I was so excited. He did have flowers for me, which was the first time he'd ever got me flowers. So I was stoked. I was stoked on the flowers. And on the way there, he was like, where do you think we're going? And I was like, I have no idea. I actually am going to be so surprised. I'm never surprised. So you really got me this time. And we're like driving out towards the beach. And I'm like, what's near the beach that's like a nice restaurant? Spoiler alert, there's not one. He pulls off into a dirt parking lot. He's like, I bet you know where we're going now. It's one of your favorite places. I'm like, this has to be a joke, because he pulled into the parking lot of a dollar slice pizza place that we go to when we go to the beach all the time. Like literally like a shack. It's a pizza shack. It's like you sit down and you get your dollar slice pizza and your dollar beer and you go on your way. He took me there on Valentine's Day. I was like, this is really funny. This is a good prank. Now take me to the real restaurant, please. No, he was being serious. He was being so serious. So we went into this restaurant, me and my new outfit that I bought. He's like, I ordered you a Corona. I'm like, so romantic. That's what every girl wants to hear on Valentine's Day. So we eat in silence. He can tell that I'm pissed. Not even pissed. I was genuinely just really sad. He pays the $6 tab and we leave. And I'm trying to like salvage the evening. I'm like, should we go out? Should we go to a cocktail bar? Should we go get dessert? Should we go like sit on the beach? Should we go drink that wine I got you? Like, should we do something like even slightly romantic at all? He's like, nah, I gotta be up early. Classic. So we went back to my place and he stayed over and we literally just went straight to sleep. And I was fully like laying on his chest, you know, crying. Couldn't help it. You know what I'm talking about, when like you're just so sad and it just, tears are just rolling off your face a little bit. So I'm crying onto his chest, his bare chest, so he can feel it. He can feel it like fully, like it's pooling up there, you know. Just doesn't say anything. He literally just pretended to not even notice that I was fully crying on him because I was so sad. Anyway, I did stay with him after that because I'm like, I'm not going to break up with someone for a bad Valentine's dinner, although it was really sad. He never apologized. He never acknowledged it. He just took his gifts and left. That was a bummer. And I've since learned that is, men will they will show you exactly who they are by the way that they treat you. He clearly did not love me. He did not care about me that much, because that is not how you would treat somebody that you loved and cared about, especially when they explicitly say to you, this is important to me. So, but I did stay with him because I was 21. And then I found out a few months later that he was cheating on me, actually, the whole time. The whole relationship, Bumble, Hinge, Tinder, random girls in bars, you name it.
For Valentine's Day because I had like the worst Valentine's Day last year. I probably shouldn't even tell the story, but I'm gonna tell it. I was invited to go speak at a conference last year, which was like one of the biggest things that I've done in my career. It was really exciting. The conference like was on Valentine's Day, so I was like, this is great. I'll bring the person that I'm dating. We'll spend Valentine's Day together in Vegas. It'll be awesome. So we're about to leave on this trip and I just like casually get a little bout of food poisoning, which lasted the entire trip. So that was absolutely terrible. So just know all of the events that are going to happen after this. I am literally, it's coming out. It's coming out all ends. So before we go on this trip, the assistant that I was working with at the time informed me that her boyfriend was approved to go on this trip with us. And I was like, well, considering this is my business trip, I think it probably would have been better if you asked me if he could go on this business trip with me. But, you know, it was already done. So I was like, let's make the most of it. So I'm off the airplane, Ubering to the hotel. I'm like ready to really hunker down in my hotel room, bathroom, if you know what I mean. And this assistant, allegedly, all of this is alleged, has been spending so much time with her boyfriend that she did not get our room situated. So we got there and it was another 3 hours until we got into our rooms, which was a little bit excruciating for me as I was having to use the lobby restroom for quite long periods of time. And even at this point, I was like, okay, we all need to chill. Everyone's kind of like stressed out. And I am generally a pretty patient person, so I didn't really let this get to me. I was just kind of like physically a little bit not feeling well. So we finally got to the hotel room and I had like an hour to get ready for dinner, and also Circus Soleil invited me to go see their Michael Jackson show. So I start getting ready and everyone was asking me what I wanted for dinner, and I was like, let's go get sushi. Everything's coming out of me crazy and I've had such a stressful day, and the only thing I want at the end of a stressful day is sushi. So we get to the sushi place. My assistant, her boyfriend, nowhere to be found. Sorry, she was not my assistant. I'm remembering now, her title was coordinator. And it's not like she was like waiting on me hand and foot. Like, she just needed to coordinate the events and like the hotel room and the flight and stuff like that. Sorry, I've been thinking about assistants recently. I don't know why I said that. So they show up like 45 minutes late for dinner, which like we only had like around 2 hours to actually be at dinner before we had to be at the show. And I was assuming maybe they would just like get a drink or something, because like ordering a whole meal and eating it that fast, like it just wasn't possible in that allotted time. Her man shows up and literally starts complaining that we are eating sushi. In my head, I was like, you were not even invited to this by me. The waiter literally comes to us and he says, do you have anything with bacon in it? And to that, I like didn't even say anything, because I think I was just really kind of shocked by the whole thing. And I was just like, okay, like, okay. Their food got there, they scarfed it down. We got there a little bit late. It was a little nerve-wracking for me because I am a very time-oriented person, but you know, I was trying to be as understanding as possible because, you know, there are other people on this trip. And I didn't want to be the one freaking out, even though looking back at it now, like it was my trip, so maybe I had a little bit of a right to freak out. The next day is when everything kind of went downhill. So go to part 2 and I will finish my story. This is part 2 of the most traumatic Valentine's Day I've ever had. So it's day 2 in Vegas, and this is when things are starting to really go kind of downhill. I am starting to get really nervous about the conference the next day because I had just not spoken in front of people in so long. I was just getting nervous because the person that I was with at that time couldn't really handle alcohol properly. And so I was like very straightforward, and I was like, listen, tomorrow's a really big day. Like, I think that we should just not drink. Flash forward to that evening, he is uncontrollably throwing up in our hotel room. Okay, I think I need to peel this off. Ooh. Ooh. This looks awful. I just put more lip mask over it. It still looks bad, but we'll figure it out. But yeah, he's throwing up all night, literally cannot even get out of bed to throw up, is literally turning to the side and vomiting on the carpeted floor of the Hilton. And listen, I get it. I've had my fair share of nights like that, okay? I totally get it. But I think what really got me is the fact that I asked, because I saw this coming, and also because I needed to be up at 8:30 in the morning the next day to get ready so I could speak in front of like 100 people. People always talk about like moments where something will happen and they know their relationship is over. Like, that was my moment. In that moment, I like really knew. I was like, you can say that you care about me, but like your actions right now when I really need it, like really just show the opposite. I was still struggling with food poisoning. I was feeling like the people on my trip that were supposed to be helping me out were not helping me. It was Valentine's Day. This like opportunity to speak at this conference was like one of the most important things that I've done so far. Like, these are all reasons why your partner should want to make things easier for you. And I was just slowly realizing that things were not being made easy for me. I was just kind of an afterthought on my own trip. And to top all this off, my coordinator was not responding to me because I think she was either getting breakfast with her man or they had a crazy night and she was asleep. So a lot of the things that we had to get done in the morning before I spoke didn't get done. And this was the point that my patience with everyone completely started to wear. I was getting so frustrated because I just felt like everyone was doing whatever they wanted to do on my trip, and I was the only one being responsible and trying to actually make this work. I literally got up to go draw the curtains and there was just a pile of vomit. I had never seen anything like that. It was nauseating. The room smelled just, oh my God. So I told him, I was like, I don't think that you should come to the conference. I think that you should just stay in the room and just rest and get better. And he was like, no, I have to come and support you. I was like, okay, if you wanted to support me, that should have started from last night. These lashes are really pretty. So I kicked him out of the room and I got ready. And while I was getting ready, I was like, oh my God, it's Valentine's Day today. After I was done getting ready, I went downstairs and I was like freaking out because my coordinator still had not figured out where I needed to be and we were running really late. And like I was saying earlier, I am a very time-oriented person. So when I am late to things, it makes me really upset. Literally, you guys, I sit down and I tell someone else on my team, I was like, listen, I know that we were supposed to do like dune buggies later today, but my stomach hurts so bad. My boyfriend is throwing up. He's not gonna be able to do this. Like, I just don't think that we're gonna be able to do that. I'm sorry. And he's like, that's totally fine. No worries. Let's just get this over with. My coordinator and her boyfriend came down and this person on the team was like, listen, can you please cancel the dune buggies because Cass doesn't want to do it anymore. My coordinator's boyfriend literally looks at me and goes, we're not doing the dune buggies anymore? Why aren't we doing the dune buggies anymore? And then my coordinator starts like echoing what he's saying. She's like, we're not doing why aren't we doing the dune buggies, Cass? I literally saw red. Listen, I have never been the type of person to make something about myself when it is not about me. And I will sometimes really struggle to demand the spotlight be on me if it's not like naturally on me. And so I think I was getting a little frustrated. So I said, oh my God. I said, because this is my trip and I don't want to do it. And I felt so bad after I said it, but I was just pushed. I was just pushed to a place and I couldn't. I was so stressed. But yeah, eventually I made it on stage and I literally just watched my ex-boyfriend stand there and every 10 minutes walk to the bathroom to go throw up. And it was distracting and it was heartbreaking and it was the worst Valentine's Day I've ever had, and I think it was probably like one of the worst days that I've ever had. Oh my God, you guys, I'm literally filming this and Kellen just texted me. My God. It's just so crazy. Oh, I don't want to cry, fuck. It's just so crazy how much can change in a year and how much finding a person that actually cares about you, like, just changes your life. Yeah, that's my story of the most traumatic